The movie begins with the successful reporter Lenny, who lives a very strict life, follows a strict diet, and cares a lot about her appearance. She constantly works out because she wants to maintain her looks, since her appearance is very important for her job. She is always either jogging or at the gym with her friend Andrea. We also see that Lenny is a very strong reporter who can work under any circumstances. We learn that she is engaged to the famous athlete Cal, and they seem to be living a perfect life together. As usual, Lenny wakes up and goes to the gym, where she meets her friend Andrea. They watch the famous TV host Deborah, who has a huge audience and can make any guest on her show emotional enough to cry. Lenny dreams of one day working on the same channel as Deborah. Anyway, she goes to work and presents the news. After she finishes, her manager Dennis comes to her and says he wants to talk to her about something. She goes to him, and he tells her that Deborah's channel is looking for new anchors, and he already submitted her application. Lenny becomes very happy and tells him she didn't expect him to submit her papers because she thought he would choose Andrea instead. Dennis tells her that he knows she deserves it and that she is extremely talented. However, he tells her that she needs to go out and film more field reports, and he informs her that she will be working with Pete. Lenny refuses because she and Pete do not get along, but Dennis tells her she has no choice if she wants the channel to hire her. So she is forced to work with him. The next day, she goes out to film a report with Pete and tells him that she only wants to deal with him professionally. We then learn that they used to be in a relationship. Lenny goes to interview a group of young men, but Pete secretly messes with the audio settings and speeds up her voice, causing everyone around to laugh at her. Lenny gets upset and goes to complain to Dennis, saying she no longer wants to work with Pete. Pete also says he doesn't want to work with her. Dennis yells at both of them and tells them to stop behaving like children and go finish the job. Later, Lenny sits with Andrea and talks about working with Pete. She says she cannot stand him and doesn't want to work with him because he is her ex-boyfriend. Andrea laughs and tells her that Pete used to be her ex-boyfriend too, making it clear that Pete is a man who dates many women. The next day, Lenny sees Pete talking to a homeless man who claims he can see the future. She thinks to herself that Pete is already crazy, so it makes sense that his friends are homeless weirdos too. She approaches the homeless man and tells him that she has an opportunity to work at a major TV channel, asking if she will get accepted. Jack replies, "No, you won't." Lenny gets annoyed and decides to interview him so people can laugh at him and his ridiculous predictions. We learn that his name is Jack, and he keeps telling her predictions about future events. For example, he tells her that the Hawks, the most famous football team, will lose to an unknown team with a score of 19-13. Lenny mocks him and says that is impossible. Jack continues and says that a storm is also coming and that it will snow. Lenny tells him that weather experts said the weather would be mild. Finally, Jack tells her that she will die by the end of the week. Lenny is shocked and disturbed by what she hears. She goes to Pete and argues with him because she thinks he paid Jack to mess with her. But Pete swears he has nothing to do with it and never told Jack to say any of those things. That night, Lenny goes to meet her friends at a bar, where they watch a game. She becomes happy when she sees the Hawks leading the match, feeling reassured that Jack's prediction was wrong. But suddenly, the referee cancels several goals for the Hawks, the game completely changes, and the Hawks actually lose 19-13, exactly as Jack predicted. This makes Lenny worried, but she convinces herself that Jack is just a homeless scammer and that what happened was only a coincidence. She returns home and goes to sleep, but the next morning she wakes up to the sound of snow hitting her window. She is shocked to discover that there is a snowstorm outside. At that moment, she realizes Jack's words were true. She immediately goes for a full medical checkup to reassure herself, but the doctor tells her she is perfectly healthy and has no illness. Afterward, Lenny goes back to Pete and asks him again about Jack's predictions. Pete tells her not to think too much about it and says Jack will probably be wrong. He advises her to live her life normally and stop worrying about his words. Later, Lenny visits her father and her sister Gwen. Gwen keeps talking proudly about her achievements with her children. When Lenny tells them she got promoted and will move to a bigger TV channel, Gwen congratulates her sarcastically and says, "So your life is going to become even stricter now." She keeps mocking Lenny's lifestyle and tells her that she will waste her whole life without ever starting a family. Lenny becomes upset and leaves. Afterward, she calls Cal while feeling sad and asks him what he would do if she died. He replies that he had an exhausting game and is too tired to deal with her questions right now. Lenny becomes even more heartbroken because she feels she chose the wrong person. She stays awake all night unable to sleep, so she decides to visit Jack and find out the truth about him. She goes to an abandoned place where Jack is staying and brings him a bottle of alcohol, trying to bribe him. Jack laughs and asks what she wants from him. She offers him money in exchange for the truth because she wants him to admit that he was only joking. But Jack insists that she will die on Thursday. He explains that he cannot control what he sees and that his whole family had the same ability to see the future. Lenny tells him he is insane and that what he is saying cannot possibly be true. Jack then tells her that an earthquake will happen tomorrow in San Francisco at exactly 9:30. He assures her that none of his predictions have ever failed. Then he advises her to enjoy the few days she has left, making her even more terrified. The next day, Lenny turns on the news and waits to hear about the earthquake Jack predicted. The clock reaches 10 o'clock and she relaxes, happy that the news has not mentioned any earthquake. She becomes convinced that Jack is not completely accurate. But moments later, the news broadcast is interrupted with breaking news reporting an earthquake in San Francisco. At that moment, Lenny completely breaks down because she becomes certain that Jack's predictions are real and that she truly is going to die. She falls into depression and goes to Pete, telling him that she treated him unfairly and that she now knows Jack was telling the truth. Pete tells her not to give up and says that maybe if she changes her life routine, Jack's prediction about her future might also change. She asks him, if Jack is telling the truth, what should I do? Pete replies that if he were in her place, he would enjoy every remaining moment with the people he loves. Lenny listens to his advice, and the next day she decides to visit her sister Gwen. The two of them talk honestly for the first time in years. Lenny asks Gwen why she hates her, and Gwen admits that ever since childhood, Lenny always tried to steal attention from her and always found ways to become the center of attention. Even after growing up, Lenny became a famous reporter while she herself ended up being only a housewife. Lenny tells her that despite all the fame she achieved, she always wished she could have a beautiful family like Gwen's and have children of her own. Gwen encourages her to do exactly that and advises her not to waste her life. After that, Lenny returns home, and for the first time she abandons her strict lifestyle. She eats whatever she wants, listens to loud music, and wears glasses and comfortable clothes. At that moment, Cal arrives and is immediately shocked by her appearance, because he is used to seeing her always taking care of herself and the house. But instead of asking if she is okay, Lenny is surprised when Cal starts blaming her for the messy house and her unkempt appearance, asking why she is wearing glasses and sitting like that. Lenny responds by saying that her eyes hurt because of the contact lenses, and that if he truly loved her, he would accept her in every state and always see her as beautiful. Then she asks him how far he thinks their relationship can go. Cal replies that their relationship is nice and comfortable, and that each of them respects the other's space. From his answer, Lenny realizes that he has no intention of marrying her. Cal then offers to take her out so they can change the mood a little. They go out together, but he takes her to the stadium and tries to train her there. Lenny becomes upset because he brought her to a place he enjoys instead of somewhere she likes. At that moment, she realizes she chose the wrong person and decides to break up with him. She spends the night sad and continues drinking. The next day, for the first time in her life, Lenny is late for work. At that time, Pete and his crew are covering a protest held by a group of workers, and they are waiting for her. When Dennis learns that she is late, he calls Andrea and asks her to go instead, but shortly afterward Lenny calls and says she has arrived. Pete is surprised by her appearance and clothes and asks if she has been drinking. Lenny tells him she is fine and can still work. Filming begins, and Lenny appears wearing casual clothes while filming with the workers, then suddenly starts singing with them. Despite her strange behavior, the ratings rise dramatically, so Dennis decides not to cut the live broadcast. Afterward, she goes with Pete, and when she wakes up, she finds herself in his bedroom. She asks him if anything happened between them because she cannot remember. Pete tells her that nothing happened, then asks, "Don't you remember what you did?" When she turns on the TV, she is shocked by what she sees. Not only that, but all her co-workers who are jealous of her begin attacking her, saying that no respectable anchor would ever appear in such a humiliating way. Lenny becomes upset by their criticism, and Pete tries to comfort her. He takes her shopping because it is Lenny's favorite thing to do. After that, he asks her to come with him while he picks up his son Harry from school, and she agrees. They go together to Harry's school, and as soon as Harry sees her, he asks if she is dating his father. Lenny tells him that they are just friends. Then the three of them go out together and spend a fun time at an amusement park. At that moment, Lenny feels the value of having a family and regrets never building one for herself. That night, Pete asks her to stay with him, and at that moment he confesses that he has feelings for her. The two of them decide to get back together. Lenny honestly tells him that if she really is going to die, then she wants to spend her final days with him, because he is the only person who truly understands what she loves. The next day, they go to work together, and Lenny is surprised to discover that Dennis and all her co-workers have prepared a celebration for her because she has been accepted by the new TV channel. She becomes extremely happy because she realizes that Jack's prophecy is not coming true, since he had told her she would not get the job. She quickly goes to Pete and tells him the good news, asking him to come with her to New York. But Pete refuses because he cannot leave his son, and unfortunately they separate once again. After that, Lenny visits her father and tells him that she has been promoted at work. She becomes upset when she notices that he does not seem excited, and she asks him why he loves her sister more than her. Her father replies that he loves both of them equally, then points toward a drawer and asks her to open it. When she opens it, she is shocked to discover that her father has recorded every episode of her TV program. Not only that, but he also kept videos of her when she was a child. Lenny becomes emotional and, for the first time in her life, feels truly loved by her family. The next day, Jack is standing in the middle of the street saying that the shining star will fall from the sky, but nobody understands what he means. By coincidence, Pete sees him and tells him that all his predictions are lies, reminding him that he told Lenny she would not get the job even though she already got accepted. Jack replies that he is certain his prediction is correct. He says that the shining star will fall from the sky, that Lenny will die, and that if she dies, then obviously she will never work there. But Pete refuses to believe him and walks away. At that moment, Lenny boards a plane to travel to New York. Sitting next to her is a man who seems terrified of flying and afraid the plane will crash and kill them. Lenny reassures him, saying that the plane will not crash and that they are not going to die. We can see that Lenny has become optimistic after convincing herself that all of Jack's predictions were wrong. Then we return to Pete, who is watching the news. Suddenly, breaking news announces the death of a famous athlete whose nickname was the Shining Star. We learn that his plane malfunctioned and crashed, meaning that Jack's prophecy has come true once again. Pete is horrified and immediately decides to travel to New York to save Lenny. On the other side, Lenny arrives at the TV station headquarters, where everyone warmly welcomes her and tells her that she will be interviewing Deborah. Lenny becomes excited and happy. One of the production team members tells her that Deborah does not like unexpected questions, and Lenny promises that she will stick to the prepared script. But as soon as she sits down with Deborah, she decides to conduct the interview her own way. She asks Deborah whether she regrets choosing her career over her personal life, which resulted in her never getting married and living alone. Deborah is deeply affected by the question, and for the first time she drops her professional mask and answers honestly from the heart. She admits that if she could go back in time, she would choose to have a home and a family instead. Lenny thanks her for her honesty and ends the interview after successfully doing to Deborah what Deborah always did to her guests, making her cry. Of course, after what happened, the channel manager is amazed by Lenny's performance and decides to hire her permanently. But the surprise is that Lenny refuses the offer because she wants to live her life with Pete and avoid repeating Deborah's mistake. While leaving the building, she sees Pete, who came to save her. But suddenly a police officer appears while chasing an armed criminal. The criminal pulls out his gun, and a bullet is fired, hitting Lenny. She is rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Pete stays by her side the entire time, and after 2 days she finally wakes up. Pete tells her that Jack's prophecy did not come true and that she is going to be fine. But Lenny replies that a part of her truly did die, the part that had already been dead inside her. In the beginning, Lenny only cared about work, but now that has changed, and she finally cares about herself and the people around her. In the end, Lenny lives happily with Pete and his son Harry.